Hey, my name's Liao. I lead our developer evangelism program here at DocuSign. I'm at our EMEA headquarters today in sunny Dublin, Ireland. I've got Thomas with me. Thomas, thank you for your time. Let's start with what you work on at DocuSign and how long you've been here.
So I've been in DocuSign 3 years and my role is Director for Security Operations. So the primary function of my job is to detect and respond to all sorts of security incidents, from a user clicking on a phishing email to a large-scale attack against our production network. As part of that, I've got the incident response team who respond to those incidents, as well as 3 support functions essentially. Our security infrastructure team, they manage all of our logs, antivirus, endpoint detection, and our SIMs. Our threat detection and engineering team, and then our forensics and e-discovery team who, post-incident, they'll take a forensic image of a machine and make sure that nothing actually bad happened on that machine. Or if it did, find out exactly what happened, as well as doing additional investigations, subpoenas, and things like that as well.
Thomas, tell me a bit about CSIRT Security Innovation.
So, attackers are always innovating. There are new threats every single day. You'll read about new compromises, new vulnerabilities, Drupal today, Microsoft yesterday, somebody else tomorrow. And as an incident response team, indeed as a security team, you always have to keep on top of those threats. So we recognize we're a trusted brand and that we have to stay on top of these threats in order to keep the company safe. 2 years ago, we applied for funding from the Irish government to open up a Cybersecurity Centre of Excellence here in Dublin. And as part of that, we have 5 separate projects and we've hired a number of people to work on those projects. So those projects are 1, smart file integrity monitoring, 2, security automation and orchestration, so enriching incidents so that our analysts can respond to them as quickly as possible. 3, database activity monitoring, so looking for any sort of suspicious activity that may be taking place on our databases. 4, canaries in our production and corporate accounts. What that means is, similar to a canary in a coal mine, we put accounts in various different systems, and if we detect anybody targeting that account or sending an email to an email address or looking at a particular page that we've put there purely for detection purposes, we know that that system has a bad actor or somebody poking around in it. 5 is credential seeding into phishing sites. So normally if an account is put on a phishing site, an attacker will try to log into that account. By us seeding credentials into phishing sites, we're able to detect if anybody tries to log into that account in DocuSign, that that's an attacker, because we know that nobody else has actually got access to that account. That allows us to detect bad actors that may be acting on our platform and help keep other users who may actually have been phished safe.
Walk me through what happens when I forward a sketchy-looking email to spam@docusign.com.
Great question. So the process is actually the same for an internal and an external user, so for an employee or a customer who reports to spam@docusign.com. The very first thing we'll do is we'll extract out every single attachment and every single link, and we'll send those for analysis. We'll use machine learning to test to see whether or not those links or those attachments are malicious, and if they are, it kicks off a whole other chain. The very first thing in that chain is we'll share that information with threat intelligence partners. So there's the likes of antivirus companies, the likes of Gmail, the likes of Yahoo, the likes of Microsoft. And that'll allow them to classify that link or attachment as malicious and make sure that anybody else who clicks that link or opens up that attachment is protected. The next thing we'll do is we'll send that site for takedown. That means that anybody else that clicks that link, that site will hopefully be blocked and will hopefully be taken down pretty soon. The third thing we do is we share that information with our partners and with our customers through a threat intelligence sharing platform. What that means is that if a customer of ours, a bank, has received a phishing email, the chances are that's not just targeted at them, but that another bank or another pharma company or somebody else may be targeted. By sharing that information proactively as soon as we've detected it with this threat intelligence sharing group, that other bank is able to check their own logs, check their firewall logs, check their endpoint logs to see if they have been targeted by the same group, check their email logs as well. We do that internally as well. So by reporting something to spam@docusign.com, one customer is actually helping keep DocuSign and the wider internet community safe.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of incidents during your 3 years here. Do you have any that stand out that are sort of your favorites that you can share?
We're coming up on our 100,000th incident detected in DocuSign, and when I look back on those, we looked back on those recently, there's one in particular that stands out. It took place about 2 years ago, and we had a high-value target click on a phishing link. This is not unusual, this happens quite frequently, that's why my team exists, but they reported this phishing email to us and we immediately said, thanks very much for reporting this. As part of that process, we also check to see if anybody else may have received that email. And when we checked, we saw that 4 other high-value targets had also received the same email, which is pretty scary. We're getting into, this looks like it could be in a targeted attack territory. We contacted those users, and 2 of those had clicked, and 2 of those had actually entered credentials. That's definitely scary. We immediately reset their passwords, we immediately locked down their accounts, we saw no signs of abuse, but one of them came back and said, that's really interesting, that's the restaurant down the road that all of us like going to. And it went from what we thought was an extremely highly targeted attack at high value targets to a simple restaurant being compromised and everybody in their address book receiving a phishing email over the course of about, 15 minutes. So definitely one to remember, but also it reinforces the point that I always like to share, is that one person reporting something can help keep the wider community safe.
So much happens so quickly in the security community, with new vulns and new campaigns being discovered every day. How do you stay on top of this?
Yeah, it's hard. It's a challenge. We have a lot of different vendors, and there's a lot of people trying to sell us stuff. And when they try to sell you stuff, there's some grain of truth behind it. We also have a vulnerability management team who are responsible for looking at new vulnerabilities and seeing where we could be targeted. But in reality, there's a wealth of resources that are freely available out there, and there's a really close-knit security community through threat intelligence sharing groups or other professional groups that you may be part of, as well as partners and peers in other organizations that you'll have worked with in the past. Probably the best source, though, is Twitter. There's so many incredibly smart security researchers and incident responders and reverse engineers that are willing to share knowledge, partly because it's really important that they share that information so that other people will be sharing back in return, but also because a lot of the time you don't know if what you're seeing is unusual, or you may have some questions, and Twitter has emerged as a place for people to share information and other groups to consume that information and partner on investigating and responding to large-scale attacks in large groups.
Thanks for your time today, Thomas.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.